At dawn on a seemingly ordinary morning, Flight L309 was preparing for takeoff. The airport was unusually quiet, shrouded in a thick blanket of fog that reduced visibility to almost zero. Passengers, ranging from business travelers to families on vacation, settled into their seats, unaware of the danger that lurked ahead. Flight attendants moved calmly through the aisles, checking seatbelts and giving reassuring smiles, while the pilots ran through their pre-flight checks. Despite their experience, something was amiss: an unnoticed mechanical fault, a minor miscalculation, or perhaps a subtle misreading of the instruments. No one could have predicted what would unfold. As the plane began its ascent, the fog immediately presented a daunting challenge. The thick, almost tangible mist disoriented the pilots, making every adjustment of the controls a delicate task. The control tower watched tensely as the aircraft veered slightly off its intended path. Inside the cockpit, alarms blared intermittently, warning of altitude deviations and navigational errors. The pilots exchanged urgent instructions, their voices tight with concentration, trying desperately to maintain control. Meanwhile, passengers felt sudden turbulence, the plane lurching violently side to side. Whispers of fear turned into quiet panic as the reality of the situation slowly seeped into the cabin. The fog was relentless, obscuring not only the runway and landmarks but also the horizon itself. Seconds stretched into an eternity as the aircraft fought against nature. The plane's lights barely pierced the dense clouds, reflecting ghostly glimmers onto the instruments inside. Passengers gripped their armrests, some praying silently, others attempting to calm children terrified by the sudden jolts. A mother whispered soothing words to her baby, whose cries were barely audible over the roar of engines and the shrill alarms. Flight attendants struggled to maintain calm, offering water and reassurances, but even their practiced composure was being tested to the limit. Then, in an instant, disaster struck. The aircraft collided with the top of a nearby ridge, hidden from view by the dense fog. The impact was catastrophic. The fuselage shuddered violently before splitting apart, sending debris scattering across the forested terrain below. Trees absorbed much of the force, yet the wreckage smoldered ominously, smoke curling into the foggy morning. Miraculously, a few passengers survived the initial crash, dazed and injured, finding themselves stranded in a remote, uncharted area. Darkness began to fall, and with no immediate help, fear escalated. The survivors huddled together, tending to the injured as best they could, listening to the eerie sounds of the forest and the faint crackling of wreckage fires. Rescue teams faced an immense challenge in locating the crash site. The fog persisted, masking the terrain and complicating aerial searches. Helicopters scoured the area, but visibility remained dangerously low. Ground teams navigated dense underbrush, calling out names and scanning the landscape with flashlights and thermal imaging devices. Hours passed with agonizing slowness, each minute a test of patience and hope. When the first rescuers finally reached the survivors, they found a scene of both devastation and resilience. Injured passengers were airlifted to hospitals, and the immediate survivors recounted harrowing details that investigators would later piece together. The investigation into Flight L309 revealed a tragic combination of factors. Human error, unexpected weather conditions, and minor mechanical failures had converged in a way that created a perfect storm of disaster. Flight data recorders and cockpit voice recordings were meticulously analyzed. Experts noted that the pilots had done their best under impossible circumstances, but the rapid onset of fog and the subtle misreadings on the instruments had left little room for corrective action. The aviation world learned harsh lessons from this incident. The critical importance of advanced instrument training, accurate weather monitoring, and the unpredictable, often unforgiving power of nature. Flight L309's story continues to fascinate aviation experts and mystery enthusiasts alike. Despite thorough investigations, parts of the sequence of events remain unclear, lost to the fog of that fateful morning. Each survivor's account adds a human dimension to the tragedy, highlighting courage, panic, and the fragility of life at 30,000 feet. The crash is remembered not only as a technical failure, but also as a chilling reminder of how quickly life can change when man meets the raw forces of nature. For those who dare to imagine the moments inside the cabin, the sights, the sounds, and the uncertainty, Flight L309 is a stark example of both the dangers and mysteries of aviation. If you want to discover more shocking true stories of flights that ended in disaster, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to InstantLore. Here, every flight has a story, and every story teaches a lesson about survival, human resilience, and the unexpected twists of fate in the skies.